Welcome to MS Unmasked, Our Journey and Beyond, a podcast where hosts Justine Martin and Allyson Brown share their personal experiences, insights and practical advice on navigating life with multiple sclerosis. Each week they delve into topics such as self-care, nutrition, exercise, sleep and symptom management. Join them as they explore the physical, emotional and mental aspects of living with MS, providing a supportive community for listeners touched by this condition. Get ready to be inspired and empowered on this incredible journey through MS Unmasked, Our Journey and Beyond.
Welcome back, everyone, to MS Unmasked. How are you, Elle?
I'm very well, thank you. Justine, how are you?
Well, I'm a bit flat at the moment, actually. You and I were just having a chat and I went, we better press record.
Yeah. Tell me.
Yeah, so I went for a casting session as a TV presenter on the weekend, and there was an activity that they were making us do. So it was on Zoom and you had to follow each other and create two sentences and the story had to flow. Well, that's fine if you've got a normal brain, but my cognitive damage became very apparent on that because of my short-term memory. I couldn't remember the full two sentences of what the person before was saying. And I thought, when it gets to me, I'm just going to go blank and burst into tears because I was on the verge of bursting into tears and it wasn't even my turn. And besides the fact that there was a whole heap of young people in there and, you know, I'm in my early 50s. God, I said that out loud and it's been reported. It was hard. It was a reality check. It was like someone had just tipped water over my cold water over my face, my head. It still affected me. You know, I like to think that I'm normal. I don't think I've ever been normal, but you know, that I'm still capable of doing everything. And Saturday proved that I can't.
Well, I think sometimes we have those moments. Like we always talk about, like having a brain fart. You know, we're having one of those moments where our brain's just not switching on. Where it happens to us, and it's okay. It's okay. It's hard for us to accept, particularly when it feels like a personal kind of defeat. You know, you couldn't do it. You know, you feel like a failure because you're like, oh God, bloody MS brain couldn't even get me to do that, right? But think about all the other things that you've achieved.
Yeah, look, I know.
Think about the amazing stuff that you do on a daily basis. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. And most people, irrelevant of an MS diagnosis, would be like, wow, right? So sometimes we just have to kind of, you know, sit with that feeling and just be like, you know what, this feels pretty awful. I don't want to stay here though.
Polite way to put it, Elle.
Yeah.
Because, I got off and I was so cranky at myself and cranky at my disability and cranky with MS, and it can get as far as I'm concerned. And then it's like, well, this is my life. This is it. I can't change this. I've done so well over so long to modify and adapt my cognitive disability, and to the point where even I forget that it's there because I've, you know, wove a pathway around it with, you know, 99% of the things that I do. But, you know, I put myself out there, out of my comfort zone, and, you know, I have no problem talking on Zoom. I have no problem talking whatsoever. However, that really threw me. And when I got off, I sat with it for about half an hour and I thought, no, I'm going to let her know why I just dropped out, because there was no way that I could actually tell her that I was going, the facilitator, and I just sent her an email politely saying, you know, thank you for letting me cast. Unfortunately, it became so overwhelming, and due to my cognitive disabilities, I couldn't do that task that you wanted. And she normally used to take about 6 people on a Saturday doing that, but there was like 25 of us, which is a big group. And it's that's a huge exercise to get through, making everyone say, 2 sentences. And to remember what the conversation actually was, 15, 20 minutes earlier by the time that, or 15 minutes earlier by the time you get.
I'd be shitting myself. I'd be like, oh my God, it's my turn next. I don't even remember the first sentence. Oh my God, what are we doing? And you kind of panic.
We got into, I think there was about 6 or 8 people by the time that I ended up leaving. And I'm like, this is way outside now for me and my disability. And what I didn't want to sit there and say to them when it come to me is like, oh, sorry, I've got MS, I've got brain damage. I can't do that bit. I'm like, no, I want to hold my pride and just slip out the back door, which is what I did. And that made me angry as well, because maybe I should have stood up and went, no, sorry, I don't have the cognitive ability to actually partake in this exercise. I can remember, and it took me back to another time when I was training to become an MS ambassador, and they got someone in to do public speaking training with us. Now, my cognitive abilities have improved dramatically to what it was like in 2013, but I'm still, nowhere near normal, whatever that word is. And we had to stand up the front, each of us individually, with a golden book. And we had to read the page of the golden book.
Like a child's book, do you mean? Like the old... So for anybody who doesn't know, the golden books were like these little, small children's kind of books that you'd read when you were like, what, 5 years old or something like that.
Yeah. And every week, if you were good, you got a new golden book.
Those are the books that I read for the MS Readathon.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
And I still have all of mine. And now my grandkids read them. Anyway, so I was standing up the front and holding on this book and looking at it, and none of it made sense, because when I'm under stress and under pressure, that's the first thing that goes with it. And she wanted us to like read the first couple of words and remember the line and then read it out. And I went, I'm sorry, I can't do that. She goes, yes, you can. You just blocked because of this. You just got stage fright. And I'm like, no, I can't do this. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Don't be stupid. Yes, you can. No, you're not listening to me. I can't do this. And I ended up bursting into tears.
So I can't believe that they said that for an MS ambassador program. So obviously they know of people that have MS, have cognitive difficulties and all of that. So I'm surprised they would have said that.
Well, what they did is they got an external person in to do all the public speaking training, and she never dealt with.
They would have needed to be trained on people with MS, because guess what? We're a very special bunch of people, and we've got special abilities that aren't necessarily superhero abilities, but we've got special abilities or disabilities that, oh, wow, I can't believe they did that to you.
Yeah, it was horrible. It was horrific. And I, burst into tears and walked out of the room and felt like such a failure. And then having to defend myself, which is what all I could see that was going to happen on Saturday as well, is defending my disabilities. And I've had to do that in the past because the majority of us don't look disabled. We don't have, mobility issues. Sometimes some of us do, but generally, if you came and met either of us at a networking event, people would not think that we've got MS.
No, not at all. And it's a downfall for us, because if it was obvious, it would be a different story. Like, you'd probably get greeted a bit differently because of that, knowledge. But yeah, it's a big kind of deal. But what I like is that, where you've come from since obviously that experience, and I know that would have created some trauma because when we reflect on those types of experiences that made the anxiety go through the roof and that put us in a position where it's like, like I'm so stressed right now, like I could burst.
Yeah.
And obviously if you burst into tears, like this is a trigger for like a traumatic experience. And it's how do we work through those things? Because these things happen sometimes in life. It doesn't matter whether you've got MS or not, but when we've got MS, it's just even harder, right?
Yeah.
So how do we work through that? How have you worked through those types of times to get to the other side?
Well, I thought I had until Saturday, and then all of a sudden, that's the first time in so many years that I've been triggered, whether I've been avoiding that kind of situation, which is probably more to the point to start with, that I had been avoiding it. I'm no good at role play at all. Never have been, but it's escalated now. I just can't do it. I just clam up, get all hot and sweaty. No, can't do it. But put me in front of an audience of 1,000 people and go ad lib and talk, I'm fine. I'm not nervous at all, and I just go to town and I love it. So how do you work that in the brain?
Yeah.
I sat back on Saturday and just processed it and went, okay, by the end of the day, I got out of my sad, sorry sack and went, okay, well, that is what it is. And then I went, well, obviously it's the universe trying to tell me that I'm not meant to be a TV presenter and that I'm meant to be interviewed by TV presenters. So that's where I went with that train of thought.
Yeah. And I honestly, I think sometimes the universe reminds us that we have an illness sometimes, like when we're like, oh, I'm feeling really, really good. Sometimes it's like just sprinkles in a little bit of like, remember how you've got that cognitive disability? Remember how you can't walk that far? Just remember.
Yeah.
Because look, it kind of is, as much as it's the most awful thing in the world, it's a very grounding and humbling experience to be like, you know what? I have to do that. And it becomes an acceptance piece where we actually have to be okay with failure.
Yep.
And that doesn't sit right with most people ever, right? It's not okay to feel like, I'm just, I've done a shit job and I feel great about it. It's like I've walked out of that room, I was crying and I was just upset over it. It was great.
You're an overachiever like I am.
No, that's right. And a lot of us have that perfectionist mentality, right? So how do we be okay with failure? Because it comes to us in the most, unprepared kind of times. It just sprinkles in a little bit of like, how about you sit with that failure? And it's a really tough process to go through and it doesn't come easy, but we have to work through it at our own pace. And a lot of the times it means we have to get some external help, talk it through, get guidance.
Yeah, and I went and saw my counsellor on Monday morning, but it was funny because I got off there and then, I sent her the email and then I opened up other emails and in my inbox I had a notification from the Osmumpreneur community that I've just made it into 7 finals. And I'm like, oh, well, I must be doing something right somewhere to get into that. Okay, I'm not meant to be a TV presenter. So, sometimes
it's a blessing in disguise. Like maybe that would have put you in a really awkward position where you might have been on national TV and done something like that where you'd be like, oh my God, totally frozen up. And maybe
it will happen.
Well, that's so true. But, maybe it was trying to protect you from it. Who knows? But, it's good to be able to reflect on those kind of experiences and sort of just go, you know what? Yep, that beat me.
Yeah.
Okay. How am I going to get back up and realize that
the end of the world?
Yeah, but realize that there are so many more things that you're capable of. It doesn't matter what you're not capable of. Think about all the things that you can do and what you've got. Like, you're an amazing person. And I've been told that by several people from different areas and different walks of life. But they all tell me like, wow, isn't Justine amazing? And I'm like, I know, right?
Oh, thanks. Now, let's talk about you, Elle. Let's take the focus off me and talk about you. I just want to say, us MSs, we don't give up. We just modify.
We have to.
Yeah. In order to keep moving forward, you got to modify it.
And that just means for me, like it's being a perpetual learner. So that's one of the things that I've really held in big stead is being a perpetual learner. So getting knocked down and going like, oh shit, that didn't feel good.
What are you learning?
What happened? What am I learning at the moment? Yeah. Oh, look, I'm navigating the business world at the moment, which is like, hello, I don't know how to run a business right now. So I'm like figuring it all out and building it from the ground up, which is, it's a tough gig. But it's something that I'm really passionate about, and helping other people is what I'm really passionate about these days, especially coming from my background, which is like doing a PhD in forensic analytical chemistry, getting a job as an analyst and working in different government organizations. Now I'm like, I don't want to do that stuff anymore. I want to help people because that's way more rewarding. So yeah, just navigating that kind of world. But even so, like there's different, all right, here's one. Like, so Pilates, I do Pilates twice a week. And this, we've talked about this before in a couple of episodes ago, I think, where my body's like starting to go through some tingling and some numbing in a couple of places. And this is like, okay, this is about stress. This is for me, this is stress built, but it hasn't gone away yet. So I've gone to my Pilates instructor and I've said, look, my body is not feeling okay right now. And I know it, and I'm learning from this, not trying to just go and do what I normally do. I need to do some modified stuff this day, like at the moment. So she'll give me some lesser stuff to do. I use a reformer bed. So it's like got Pilates springs, and you put on the amount of springs that, your legs can handle. Guess what? I'm on the really light springs because I'm like, you know what?
You're doing it.
I don't need to be working my legs so much that I can't get off the bed and walk out of that Pilates studio. I just want to move. That's all I need to do is just move. So this is me learning and adapting to a new set of rules that I'm currently facing. And you know what? In a couple of months' time when this resolves, I'll be back doing what I normally do. But I have to learn and adapt and just keep on learning, keep on being in tune with my body. And if it's saying something, I got to listen. I have to listen.
How many of us don't listen?
A lot of us.
Yeah.
And it's not because we sometimes it's just because we want to ignore what's going on, what's really kind of going on, and pretend that it's not there. But a lot of us just aren't tuned into it.
No.
We're just not aware. So really just tuning in to your body and just listening sometimes. It's telling you a lot of stuff.
Yep.
A lot of information.
It sure is. My sinuses flared up again the last couple of days, and I think you and I spoke the other day, and I'm like, I can't pinpoint what it is. Well, I've worked out what it is, I think.
Nice.
Yeah, mandarins.
Mandarins?
I was craving some mandarins, so I went and ate quite a few. And then I'm like, you're not meant to eat them. You're histamine intolerant, and they're a high histamine food. Sinuses all flared up again.
So I don't know if I mentioned it to you when you mentioned about your sinuses, but nobody ever told me on my MRI scans that I had chronic sinus disease. Now, until I got a printout of the results and went, I've got chronic sinus disease? Like, what's that about? I didn't realize, right? Until I was having so many chronic sinus problems that I got a CT scan done and they went, you've got chronic sinus disease. And then what I've had done is, I can't remember the procedure name, but it's endoscopic sinus surgery, where they basically clear out all of the honeycomb so that you don't get that clogging up effect. And it's been very helpful, but, I've still got sort of residual stuff going on there from all this year of all these years of my body just being abused by eating the wrong foods and doing the wrong stuff by it. It's still suffering for it, and I'm still kind of paying for it now. I'm still trying to reverse some of that damage. But yeah, sinuses. That's right. And look, when it comes to listening to your body, just to link these two things together, listening to your body and going, wow, my sinuses are flaring up, or wow, I've got migraines recurrently again, or I've got joint pain, bloating, gas, just inflammation in your body. This is signs that there is inflammation. Now, this can be caused a lot by our inflammatory diets these days, which is what I sort of deal with, but it can also be stress. It can also be lack of sleep. It can also be not getting enough exercise. all these things contribute to all this stuff going on with our bodies. And these are warning signs. Your sinuses are flaring up going, hello, Justine, you shouldn't be eating those mandarins or any high histamine foods. Please stop doing that. It's a warning sign, right?
Yeah.
But you listened to it and you went, oh, I really shouldn't have done that. Maybe next time I'll not do that. But it is about listening to your body.
Next time I won't be buying the bag of mandarins. They're all gone now because I've eaten them all and I'm still suffering from it. And it's like, oh. I did experience, I don't know if I told you the other day, I bought gluten-free vegan custard powder.
All right.
And made it on coconut milk.
All right. Did you have a look at the packet and the ingredients?
There wasn't a whole heap of chemicals in it, but I'm not doing it again. It tasted disgusting.
Okay. Most of those foods.
Mouthfuls into it and I went, oh, no, I can't do this. Why am I doing this? This is like unleaded.
Yeah.
So I didn't add any extra sugar or anything like that in it either. So you can imagine how bitter it was. I'm like, yeah, I'll do that one again.
No, sometimes you just have to go with whole foods that fuel your body. Yeah. Even though sometimes we want a little taste of something sweet or a little taste of something that's, that fills that void. Like a lot of the times if you go for the supermarket stuff, always look at the labels.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, if people are listening for the first time thinking, oh, okay, I should do that. If you look at the labels and you're like, I don't know what that chemical is. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. I don't know what those numbers are.
I can't pronounce that word.
Don't put it into your trolley and don't take it home and eat it because guess what? That is hijacking your health. Your body doesn't know what to do with those chemicals except cause inflammation and except cause all these issues. So, it's a big, big trap. And even when it comes to like gluten-free stuff or, vegan or sugar-free, massive trap. Don't fall into the trap because all it is, the food companies, what are they in business for? They're in business to make
my oat
money.
milk, didn't I?
No, tell me again.
So I've been drinking this barista oat milk, which is still fairly high in histamine, but I balance it out with whatever else I'm having throughout the day. And I thought, I'm just going to have a look on the back of what's in this one because I changed brands. Oh, my God, it's full of vegetable oil and everything. I'm like, yuck, no. And I went through trying to find an oat milk that didn't have all the crap in with it. Could not find one at all. So I'm back on coconut milk, which is just coconut milk and water in there as well and no numbers. So the oat milk was full of numbers and the coconut milk isn't. And it's just been a matter of trying to adjust my palate again to it because I don't drink tea or coffee. I don't have caffeine, but I do like this cereal beverage called Caro, and there's another one called Nature's Cuppa. Caro is unavailable at the moment everywhere. I don't know what's happened, so I'm like, oh my God. And so Coles have Caro and Woolies have Nature's Cuppa, so I had to go and buy some Nature's Cuppa yesterday, and I have one of those a day. So I'm weaning onto the coconut milk with that. I've tried it black. I can't do it black.
You'll find that your taste buds will change. Like what I found, because I was addicted to sugar and junk food for 30 years. So my palate was like, if it doesn't have sugar and those junk foody kind of ingredients in it, ugh, like I hate eating that clean stuff. Like, ew, it's so disgusting. Yeah. Where's the flavor? And honestly, for the first few months, I was just like in agony, just going, God, how much longer do I have to eat this crap for? And now I love it. And now I can detect chemicals in foods, or if there's sugar, I'm like, oh, that's got sugar in it. And your taste buds will change. My palate is so much different now, and I love the taste of fresh, whole foods. Hate the taste of anything that's like outside of that. So your palate will change, and that's good.
Yeah.
It takes time though, and consistency. That's a big one, I think, that I hear from my clients is consistency. So some people, have been dabbling with different diets and they they sort of have a few results for a little bit and then they get kind of derailed and, it sort of just doesn't quite work. One of the big things is, are you doing it consistently? Consistently doing that, or are you sneaking in a glass or two of red wine a week, or are you sneaking in like a little bit of this? Because it derails things. It does. It really does. So, consistency is a big one.
Yeah, no, I'm not sneaking anything in now. The mandarin, and that's the thing, like a mandarin for you to have, Allyson, wouldn't be a problem, and it's a whole food.
Yep.
But because of my immune system and what else is wrong with me, a mandarin causes so much more grief.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's being in tune with, your body and knowing, okay, well, I can't personally have that. That other MSer can have it, but I can't have it because it affects my body with the mast cell activation syndrome that I actually have on top of everything else. And it's been a learning curve. And I normally, will have something and go, okay, well, I'll try this. I'll see how I feel. And, for the next couple of days, I'm in agony from it, and can feel, the definite change of what that food has done at a cellular level. And let's face it, that's what food is. Food is a cellular level fuel.
And it's information. It's fuel and it's information for your body. And obviously, if you're feeding it with those inflammatory ingredients all the time, it's like your body trying to read hieroglyphics and just going, I don't know what that is. It doesn't make any sense to me. I can't turn that into fuel. Let's just cause inflammation and weight gain instead, or these other symptoms. So, yeah, definitely a big one.
Yeah. So what do you got on for the rest of the week?
I have a bunch of calls from the MS Summit. So I'm speaking with a lot of people from the MS Summit about their diets and about their lifestyle habits and see whether we can find some room for improvement for those people. So that's really, really exciting. So that's the main thing that I've got on this week. What about you?
Let's see. I've got 2 chapters that need to be written. One for our MS book, and another one for a book that's been produced when I go to Ireland in November. So that's got to be done. I've got the Geelong Small Business Excellence Award paperwork to fill in for that, the nominations to get into that one. I've got some drawings that need to be done. I've got a list a mile long that needs to be done, and throw in there that it's school holidays, so every day I've got my grandkids at the moment. 2 of the older ones.
Just a lazy week for you then.
Yeah, pretty much. Plenty of stuff going on, and got to start thinking about our book, Allyson, as well.
We've had a bit of a chat about getting that started, our sort of MS survival guide. So I'm excited about getting that underway, and
me too.
That's going to be great.
So look out for that in the future. Hopefully we can have that done in around 3 to 4 months' time and have it out, which would be fantastic. Yeah. So stay tuned, listeners, for that one. So I just want to recap, if anyone ever has any questions for us, please feel free to email either one of us, and we can definitely answer anything.
Did you want to answer one of the questions that we've had come in?
Do you want to read the question?
Yeah, sure. So the first question that we had was from a listener who said, what strategies can I use to help manage MS-related fatigue? I just feel exhausted all the time, would really like some help, and your thoughts, please. I can definitely help in that space. So the diet and lifestyle program that I run is specifically aimed at boosting people's energy and getting rid of things like brain fog and those inflammatory symptoms. So the fatigue is a sign that your body is inflamed. And quite often this is because of those inflammatory foods that we're eating. So grab out a pen and paper, because I'm going to tell you the 5 most inflammatory foods that you want to eliminate from your diet to boost your energy and to get rid of that brain fog as well. And if you can stick with it to eliminate these for like 3 months, you will start to see amazing, amazing progress. So here we go. Food number 1 is sugar. Sugar. It is a bad one. We all know it. Unfortunately, it tastes really good, but it is really inflammatory and it's a neurotoxin. Food number 2, processed foods. So any of those packaged and processed foods, let's say it's probably 80 to 90% of our supermarkets, those are packaged foods. Check the labels because most of them will have ingredients in them that are inflammatory, that are going to exacerbate and cause things like stripping you of your energy, brain fog, fatigue, weight gain, all that sort of stuff. Third thing is alcohol, which is obviously causing toxins to go through your body as well. And the other one is gluten. Gluten is another one. Don't be fooled by the gluten-free products from the supermarket as well. They don't do you any good.
They're often worse.
They're often worse, yes. And the last one is dairy. So the last two, gluten and dairy, in about 80+% of people, we have trouble processing those foods. And it's because they have some inflammatory ingredients in them. So 80% of us will actually struggle with that. And we get that bloating, the, gas, discomfort, constipation, diarrhea, whatever that looks like, but it doesn't feel very nice when we eat those things. So those are the warning signs that your body's going, I can't really process that stuff properly. Please stop eating it. But we just ignore it and go, yeah, that just always happens when I have bread, but it's fine. I can deal with it. Over time, this toxicity will build up to a threshold, and then that's when things go really bad, often leading to a chronic illness diagnosis. So when we can kind of settle that down as quickly as possible, we start to see some wins on the board. So for that listener, thank you so much for that question. Hopefully, if you can eliminate those 5 foods, so sugar, processed foods, gluten, dairy, and alcohol, you will be able to see some wins on the board and get some energy back. For sure.
I also add something into that as well. Go to bed earlier. Make sure that you are going to bed well before midnight, because every hour you go to sleep after midnight, you're losing. So if you go to bed at 10 o'clock, you're getting an extra 2 hours sleep than if you wait till midnight. Well, you get an extra 4 hours sleep because it doubles for every hour before midnight. I found that, sometimes I suffer with insomnia with my MS, and it is well documented everywhere that I am on CBD oil and I'm on Tilray 1010. So I'm on a blend of CBD and THC for nerve pain, the spasticity in my legs, and to help me sleep. And when I take it consistently, because I sometimes forget, that my quality of sleep is far, far better than when I don't take it. And therefore the next day I wake up, I never wake up refreshed. That's the thing of the past. But I wake up after having a better quality night's sleep. And instead of sleeping for, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, I'm sleeping, 8 hours, 7, 8 hours. And that makes a difference to my fatigue levels then the next day.
Absolutely. And, it's a great point about getting that sleep before midnight, because as you say, it is worth 2 hours. Every hour before midnight's worth 2 afterwards. Yeah. One thing that I have started doing is taking melatonin. So melatonin is a natural kind of product that we actually need to go to sleep. So I take 5 milligrams usually, 10 milligrams if I'm really, really struggling. Yeah. But usually I will just make sure that I take it. I take it about half an hour before I actually want to go to sleep. So, I'll take it usually around 9 o'clock. And usually by 9:30, I'm starting to kind of really yawn. And I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to go to sleep. And then I can drift off to sleep. So that does help.
What type do you obviously don't buy the gummies?
No. So I get mine through iHerb. So I can send through a link that you can maybe post in the comments or something like that. So I can send you the link to that. But yeah, it's a purple and white and green bottle. If you have a look on iHerb and you're looking for 5 or 10 milligrams, that's the brand that I get.
Is it liquid form?
No, it's a tablet.
All right.
Like a capsule. Yeah.
Yeah. My grandson, he takes melatonin. He's ADHD and he'll sit up till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning easily. So he's been given melatonin the doctor actually prescribed melatonin for him because it's a more natural thing for him to have than any other product out there. So, yeah, so there's some good tips and hints there today. Everyone will address another question next week because I think there's 2 more questions we've got sitting there, but feel free to send them in. We're always happy to discuss them further. So any final words today, Allyson?
No, just hope that everybody stays well, stays warm. Obviously, in our area of the world right now, it's pretty cold. It's getting pretty cold. But yeah, stay well, everyone. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you again next time.
And that's a goodbye from me. Stay healthy. And I haven't got any last words of advice today. I'm a bit brain fried, bit of a brain fart going on there.
Yeah, that's all right. We embrace the brain farts. Yep.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, if you want to check out our other episodes, they are available 1 through to 5. This is number 6. We're getting there. Can't believe we've been going for 6 weeks so far. Anyway, guys, until next week, stay healthy.
With over 11 years public speaking expertise, Justine thrives on delivering a powerful and empowering keynote to audiences of all sizes. From a packed room of 500 people to an intimate gathering of 50 people, Justine will command the room with her inspiring journey and engaging anecdotes. Email hello@justinemartin.com.au to book Justine for your next event.
Tired of chronic illness and fatigue? Everheal's guided diet and lifestyle programs can help you reclaim your energy and transform your health. Visit everheal.com.au for a free health assessment today.